Hello, world. Welcome to episode 107 of the Jimmy Canz Show. Classic Supercard retrospective time yet again. Let's get into it. Time for Clash of the Champions. I believe we're 13, which was Thanksgiving Thunder. All right. This was an NWA event promoted by World Championship Wrestling, held on November the 20th, 1990, from Jacksonville Memorial Coliseum in Jacksonville, Florida. Broadcast live on TBS The Superstation. Action called by Jim Ross, Paulie Dangerously. Let's talk about it. All right. A first Southern Boys Freebird feud continues. Even though the boys and the rock and roll seem to have flipped opponents here, Morton's been dealing with the Birds for the last few months. The boys have been having their beef with Cornette and company, but we get another chapter of the Southern Boys and the Freebirds here. It's our second clash in a row with these two meeting. Second time a scheduled 6-man turned into a normal tag match as well. This one was announced to be the Southern Boys teaming with Elegante against the Birds and Beautiful Bobby Eaton, but the story was, that the Birds supposedly had beat up Elegante at the airport, shoved him in a box, labeled it Argentina, and getting ready to ship him back to South America. Now they thought that this was incredibly funny and clever and admitted to the wrongdoing, just on the mic right before the match. So the official, said, instead of this being a 3-on-2 situation, he was going to make this a normal tag situation, and told Bobby to head back. And, it was just going to be the Birds and the Southern Boys. So, it was a solid open. These are 4 solid hands in the ring. They know each other well. Always, good match when these 4 clash. Armstrong, here in the closing moments, Armstrong slingshots himself over the top rope to the entranceway onto Garvin, while in the ring. Little Richard Marley, the Freebirds corner man, trips Smothers coming off the ropes, and Hayes catches him as he's tripping right into a DDT, allowing the Freebirds to get the 3 count and the win. So your winners in this one: Jimmy Jam Garvin, Michael P.S. Hayes, the Fabulous Freebirds, over those Southern Boys of Armstrong and Smothers. Next up, we had Flying Brian Pillman taking on the hometown Nature Boy Buddy Landel. Yep, Jacksonville's own. Pretty high-paced match. Action in and out of the ring. Pillman secures the win in this one with his typical flying cross body. Before the next match, we get more build in the Sting Black Scorpion angle, teasing a confrontation later that night, featuring more black magic from the Scorpion. Oh, goody. I can't wait for that. Anyway, Candyman Brad Armstrong takes on a new Big Cat, who was a very young Curtis Hughes. Later just went by Mr. Hughes. Now he's the Big Cat. Very slow match compared to the last 2. Big Cat trying to further his feud with Luger. In this one, he actually wins this match using Luger's finisher of the Torture Rack. Next up, primetime Brian Lee makes an appearance in WCW facing Z-Man. Don't have my traditional graphic here. Trying to find a photo to create my normal graphics here was difficult, and it was a one-off from Brian Lee, so I just used a screen grab. Sloppy match with some bad missed spots, as Lee was not, full-time competitor. As I've already mentioned, it was no shock. Z-Man gets the win here. Comes after a top rope missile drop kick. Next up, our rebranded Mike Rotunda, now seconded by a very young Terry Runnels, going by Alexander York, and Rotunda is now referring to himself as Michael Wall Street. And he takes on the mysterious Star Blazer, who was Tim Horner in a mask. Again, it's kind of a one-up thing. This was not a gimmick that lasted very long for Horner. And I shoot screen grab for this one. Under 5 minutes here. This is really just done to get the new character of Michael Wall. And what was billed as the South African qualifying match for the Pat O'Connor Memorial National Tag Team Tournament. Boy, that's a mouthful. Which was to actually take place at Starrcade. Kalua and the Beast faced Sergeant Kruger and Colonel de Klerk. None of these men were actually from South Africa. This is entirely kayfabe. Kruger was actually Ray Lasamali, more well known by his other ring name, Ray Apollo, who would go on to inherit the Doink the Clown character in the WWF when Matt Bourne was let go in a couple years. De Klerk was actually Theodore Petty, who many of you probably know more as he rose to notoriety portraying Flyboy Rocco Rock as part of the Public Enemy. So the Beast was a local Atlanta talent, Bill Tapp, and I have no clue who Kalua really was. I tried to do a lot of research here. I couldn't find anything on him. But anyway, none of these individuals are actually from South Africa. So at this point in their careers, they were just, for enhancement talent that, don't belong on a nationally televised supercard special, in my opinion. Anyway, only about 5-minute match. Beast has de Klerk up for a slam. Kruger drop kicks his partner onto the Beast for the 3, and thus they qualify for the tournament. So your winners, Sergeant Kruger and Colonel de Klerk. Luger had a lot going on around this time in his career, trying to regain the U.S. title from Hansen, dealing with challenges from 2 newcomers as well in the form of Big Cat and the Motor City Madman. So it was like, everybody's feuding with Luger. Luger is actually jumped by Big Cat prior to the match as payback for Luger's sucker punch to him earlier in the evening when he came out and confronted Luger during an interview. The match, finally starts, but it's a mess. As strong as Luger was, he struggled to get Big Motor City Madman up on a suplex, and mercifully, the entire match ended after Luger hits a running forearm for the pinfall. So, this tells you kind of how, it wasn't all that tall, but just how much of a load the Motor City Madman was. Luger didn't even attempt to torture wreck. So, Mark and Chris Youngblood, the Renegade Warriors, faced the Nasty Boys, Jerry Sags, and Brian Knobbs next. This was just there to build really between the Steiners and the Nasties. The Steiners actually run in attacking the Nasties, who run off and get the win via DQ. That's my take on it. I've seen reviews that state the result was a no contest, and ones that state the Warriors won by DQ. And I think because they don't actually make any comment in it, but what I saw with my own eyes, the outcome of this should have been Nasties with a DQ victory. So that's what I'm basing my information on, what I saw with my own 2 eyes, not what I've read elsewhere, because nothing's ever actually announced during the match. So just based on what I see, I'm saying the Nasty Boys got this one by DQ. Sid Vicious is out next against a very young and green Night Stalker, who is none other than Brian Clark. You might know Brian Clark went on to be Adam Bomb, the WWF, and then Wrath in WCW, and later going by his given name Brian Clark as part of Chronic with Brian Adams. This match made little sense. Big Cat comes out again and interferes in another match. Night Stalker tries to take out Sid with his double-bladed battle axe, only to eat a big clothesline and get pinned by Vicious. I don't know what they were going for in this match. It was just all over the place. Sid's kind of a heel. Night Stalker's being billed as a heel. Big Cat's a heel. It's like, why are all these feuds fight? I don't know. It just made a little sense to me. There was a Birds interview segment next before the next match. They come out to brag some more. The Southern Boys come out, and they're joined by, you guessed it, Elegante, who, guess he got out of the box. Birds run off, and the boys then challenge them to a future match. So there you have that. Rick and Scott, Steiner brothers, put the United States tag title on the line here against Magnum Force. Less than 2 minutes. Like I said, Magnum Force was just enhancement talent. Frank and Steiner later, around 2 minutes, and Rick and Scott retained. Nasty's come out post-match, chaos ensues, yada, 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 helping build up that feud even more. After this, we got the promised Sting Black Scorpion confrontation with more black magic, aka bad stage magic. Wow, this angle has gone off the rails. Can't wait for it to be over. Main event to further that Horsemen Doom angle that's been going on. This makes little sense to me to have a singles match here. But anyway, the story was each team flipped a coin to see which members would compete in the match. The stipulation of this match was that should the Horsemen be victorious, they would get another tag title shot at Starrcade. And Long had to be the Horsemen's chauffeur for a day. If Doom gets the win, there's no title shot for the Horsemen, and Long actually would get Ric Flair's limo and yacht to keep. Anyway, it was, the coin flip determined the competitors. It was Nature Boy Ric Flair represent the Horsemen, Hacksaw Butch Reed represent Doom. It's a Flair match, so goes close to 15 minutes with a typical crazy finish. Ref bump. Enter Simmons, who takes out Flair, goes to the outside to celebrate. Reed has the cover, but there's still no official. Anderson then comes in with a steel chair. Boom, cracks Reed with it. Simmons doesn't notice any of this. Flair crawls over Reed for the 3 and the win. So your Horsemen are victorious. Flair's victorious for the Horsemen, and they get their another title opportunity at Starrcade. And old Teddy, holla, 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 gotta be the chauffeur. So wow, a lot to digest here. Most of it isn't good. Most of the card did nothing to further any current feuds. Luger feuding with 3 people at once. Big Cat is just angry at everybody. He's going after Luger. He's going after Sid. He's going after, the popcorn vendor in the 4th row. I don't know. One title match on a Clash of Champions, and it was a squash match against enhancement talent. The cherry on top of this cluster of a card was the Black Scorpion and his quote unquote black magic. Good Lord. When will this angle be over? I don't know. But yeah, this was a bad show. There was not much of any redeeming value in this, to be quite frank. I got to give it a ranking. Besides a decent tag opener, this was a bad show. Well, the finale wasn't too bad. So you get a decent tag opener, and then the final tag match was okay, but it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me what they're doing with the tag titles here. So on a 10 belt scale, this is bad. This gets a 1. This is the lowest rating I've ever given on my classic retrospectives. I see nothing redeeming about this show, to be quite frank. The bads far outweigh the good. There was, the decent opener and I guess decent closer, the only thing that prevented this thing from getting a 0. But anyway, next up on my classic retrospectives, we will look at Survivor Series 90. I think something kind of big happened at this show. I don't know. Join me. We'll talk about it. There's this guy that debuted on the show, went on to do some stuff, but we'll talk about that at a later point in time. So give the channel a like, share, subscribe, wherever you are. Hope you're doing well. Take care of one another, and I will see you all when I see you.